SOUQ morning to you. Welcome to SOUQ News Television, our maiden show for today. Before we get on, I'll let you know my name is Heirs Mbah. I'll take a short, quick break to go get my cup of coffee, and when I return, we'll jump right into the headlines. Yeah, I had to quickly rush my cup of coffee, but never mind about that. Guess who's on the show today? It's none other than Dr. Idahosa Osamhanze. Hello, Doc. Like we say in our other world. What's up, Doc?
Good Nigeria. Great SOUQ this morning.
One more.
Ikenna.
And a lovely morning.
A lovely morning to you.
You look good. You look sharp and up.
I don't know about that.
Guys, you must attest with me. Doc looks fantastic this morning. He looks really immaculate in gray with a shade of blue. I tell him all the time, but I have to confess on air so that you share with me.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to the business of the day, which is Business Day, Nigeria. Why Naira stability hinges on 2 million barrels per day of oil. Nigerian government is counting on oil to help shore up the battered Naira as it is described. I don't know why they would call it that, but hey, it is what it is. Industry operators say it's a must to decisively ramp up oil production and 2 million barrels, to get to 2 million barrels. How feasible is this? Or is it just, as usual, words on the paper to sell?
Well, I may not say it's words on paper to sell. We already know that the challenge with the stability of the rate of Naira has a lot to do with the inflow of foreign exchange.
Forex, right.
And as long as the quantum of foreign exchange that is coming in into the economy is not matching up, like they say in international trade, the balance of trade continue to tilt in favor of import against export, you continue to find that you don't have enough to actually make your next importation. So this is a problem. So if we are able to actually meet our OPEC target of 2.1 million barrels per day.
2.1?
Yeah, so that
1.8, 1.5.
Yeah, but that's what we currently do, because that's just reducing because as a starting point in history, OPEC actually gave us 2.3 million barrels per day. And if we are able to actually show up production of crude, that of course will mean a lot of money. But
that are giving us those numbers because they feel we have the capacity, or they just throw it around that you must do this number?
Yeah, but I think it's against what is declared that you are currently able to do with your capacity. So they ramp it up to ensure that there's some stability in the market, also looking at what reserve that you have and see to sustain you for XY number of years. So I think that's the real criteria as it is, because you can look at a small country like UAE, they're doing like 3 million barrels per day. Sometimes in Saudi between 9-11 million barrels daily. So and that really is helping the economy to grow. And I really wish that we're able to actually meet even what OPEC has given to us to do those 2 million barrels per day, and then we have enough exchange. But again, the snag that is there right now is the fact that, of course, NNPC also has agreed to sell crude to Dangote at Naira. So it's like giving something with the right hand, collecting it from the back right hand. So that for me is the scenario that we find ourselves, and I would do hope that those who are monitoring the economy, especially from the fiscal side of Nigeria economy, need to do real much to drive down the cost of buying foreign exchange, and I think that will be of a good help to our economy. Although I listened to the CBN governor say, defending the reason for rate hike, and said, oh, that will help control inflation because it will pull more money out of the economy. But if you go to the street and ask average Nigeria, they don't really know where that money is, where the money is in the economy. We do hope that things get better.
Where is the money is the question. Okay, about Independence Day, this next headline: how Nigeria's 18.3 million out-of-school children cripple economy. How Nigeria's 18.3 million out-of-school children cripple economy. This is on page 31. But Doc, what's with these numbers being thrown around? Because people have said this for a long time. These numbers, are they verifiable? Do we have, because research has taken the back burner in our clients right now.
I don't know. However, these figures are aggregated. One may want to say, okay, what factor that is used is projection that you find in terms of enrollment in school, and then, of course, against the number of beds. How the migration factors are also factored in is a big problem that one really would not know. So how authentic that figure is really yet to be desired. But my real worry is the fact that why in this age and era should people be talking about children out of school? It's unbelievable.
With free education at that level.
Yes, of course, at that level. Why would children be out of school? I say to people, take for example in Lagos State, why would there be a single individual in Lagos State who is out of school? When, of course, for example, they have made provisions for books for primary school, it is tuition free. So there's much to this equation of people not getting to have their kids get to school. And I think it's also a factor that government really needs to work hard on, see how to get people really organized, take people off streets, and we can have children who stop hawking in the streets, and then markets are properly designated. That it could become a criminal offense. That, of course, the police officer should enforce this. Any child that's seen on the street hawking, they should be taken to the remand center homes. And I think that's the best to happen. So that if the parents are not able to really take care of these children, then the government can own them and keep them in a remand home.
Like it's done in the West.
Oh yeah, and properly educate them and make them responsible citizens, rather than leave them to be roaming the streets, and then of course becoming a source of worry to society as they grow up.
All right, TBN is serious about fair, efficient markets, says Cardoso. Doc, I have no idea what this headline means. Maybe you want to shed light.
Yeah, but what's efficient market, where of course the forces of demand and supply actually determine the rate and the price of what your currency is selling. And that is what it is. And the government is saying, look, we don't want to intervene, we don't want to support it, we want to allow it to float and ensure that people who are guessing dollars, they really need it and is for the right reason and for the right purpose. So you are saying that the forces of market actually is able to help determine the prices of dollar. But I think where we are at the moment, talking about the efficiency of the market only will become efficient if other macroeconomic indicators are themselves very stable. And I think that's where CBN really need to work. And I think the past governor of CBN tried in that regard really to see how government can intervene in building a strong base. For example, in the agricultural sector, there was this Naira loan that was given to people to be able to do farms so that they can produce things that they can ship outside. And I think we need to really find a way to get investment in the real sector so that the economy is not just depending on just oil alone. And those who are doing some little things now, we see how to ramp them up I understand that, for example, cashew nuts alone, there's a gap of over 19,000 tons that the foreign market needs from Nigeria. We are not able to meet up with that figure. We are still, of course, there's a gap also in terms of palm oil, and that even we have to import palm oil, for example. Things like ginger, things like are things that the world needs, but we also are not able to produce in such quantum that we can actually also ship outside. Just imagine that all we're doing is these agricultural products alone. That alone will help us really strengthen, because you can only talk about fairness when, of course, the forces of supply and the forces of demand are equal. And if the forces of supply is weak and demand is huge, then of course you know that it cannot be in favor of the people. And I say how to show up the supply side should be really what CBN should be focusing on, really.
But Doc, really, how is CBN serious about this market? Because it's just thrown out there. It hasn't really said, okay, it's from this angle, or this is what we're doing, and this is what we did last, this is what we have been doing. It just says we're serious about this market.
I'm really worried about CBN
yes.
way of seeing really the cost of high inflation by putting it at there's so much money in circulation. Yeah, in theory they may have that in their book, but you're going to look at it. If you actually see what's the figure that we are banded for the money in circulation, if you divide it by our population, which is about 220 million people, you see that it's really not a big deal. But what you have, even if you dollarize it, you see how much that is equal to in dollars. So you find that the real problem for me is not the money in circulation. The real problem of inflation here is the fact that the costs is driving higher. And these are as a result of external influence and factors which may not completely be under our control. But how do we respond to this external shock? I think is to be able to create a local economy that is functional, where people are actively engaged, and then productivity is high, people are able to actually consume and spend some money on luxury.
Productivity has to even come up a bit because we talk about it being high.
So I think that's the real challenge, that what you see is that a lot of people really don't have disposable income. People don't have disposable income. There's absolutely no middle class anymore. So you have about just 10% who are doing excellently well, that has the money, and then the rest of the 90% that are absolutely very poor without money. And so what you have is that even as you continue to increase rates and take money off circulation, the very people you're actually punishing is the 90% that has no disposable income.
Sad. Coscharis secures $4 billion to provide power solutions to businesses. Catch that on page 29. It's a good read. Do you have a comment on that? Coscharis is because this is such a huge thing for him for the company to do.
Yeah, investing in the energy sector is the right thing to do, and for a private individual to have taken in that initiative. And I think we need so much of those interventions. And those whom God has blessed really in Nigeria should do more.
I agree.
Believe in the system, invest in the system.
Right.
And that will help us address the real issue or the gaps that we see in terms of trade deficit. So if individuals that God has endowed with resource try to put those money in this economy and see it work. But we also pray that the system itself will provide a level playing ground for this chap to be able to make profit, because the real reason for any business venture is to make profits, and if possible to maximize it.
Yes. Heirs Insurance Group revenue surges 80% in 2023. Heirs Insurance Group revenue surge 80%. That's huge. Catch that on page 30. Is insurance still a thing, Doc?
Oh my God.
In our climes and in these times.
There are a lot that is happening in insurance. You just imagine, for example.
80% is a lot.
Yeah, it's much. You imagine that we are in the season where, for example, we've increased third-party insurance from 5,000 to 15,000. That's about 200% increment. That alone. And then you come and look at it. Health insurance is becoming really very popular right now. A lot of people are getting into HMO and the rest of it. So,
and it's made cheaper, rather affordable is the word, for individuals.
For government workers, it's becoming almost like a law now that regular people are to get involved in it. Yes. So they're pulling money out of civil servants' pocket. And so you can really see it. So there's a lot that's happening in that sector. It's growing, but I think it needs to really do better. And we also pray that they are also putting this money into investment that will really help the sector to develop, as it were. But here at SOUQ, they are doing excellently well.
That's great. Doing well is great.
Kudos to Tony and his team.
Right. Shout out to Tony, like Doc says. All right, we're on to Business Daily. We'll look at a few headlines from Kenya Business Daily. Treasury boss declines U.S. envoy job amid Adani deals. Gated communities denied approval. Rights in Tattoo City Road. There's a road going on and they've been denied rights. The next one. Fresh produce exporters hit by airlines withdrawal. So Kenya's horticultural farmers, Doc, this is something would be nice for you to speak on. The horticultural farmers out in Kenya and fresh produce exporters are facing a lot of loss at the onset peak season that's currently going on after several international airlines withdraw their flight services.
That's just quite unfortunate for Kenya.
And they're saying it's due to low returns. How can they be talking about low returns now? What were they doing before?
Yeah, but you see, it's Kenya has been in the news. Probably for the wrong reason in the recent time.
For the wrong reasons.
And this is resulting from the falling expectation of the Kenyans who massively supported their current president to succeed.
It has to always go around to Ruto.
That were made, that of course he had what it takes to turn around the economy. And now they are in the period of their bed pang, because a lot of reforms and policies that, of course, the new government is putting in place, tightening the situation for a lot of Kenyans. That's why you see the protesters and the rest of them now even clamoring for a change.
So everything has to be tied to Ruto.
Oh yeah,
everything.
So somehow, because it's the management of that economy that is actually
spilling
a
over.
Huge challenge. So how are you able to really drive? If people are, airline will come to your place.
True.
If there are passengers to be carried. So if nothing is happening at your airport, for example, people don't have capacity to travel anymore, and the traffic is low or weak, you wouldn't expect that the airline should come and stay there and be wasting manpower and resource. So these are the things, because if the economy is booming, a lot of people are willing to travel, and then of course the airline will be making brisk businesses. But if there is no passenger, it will be of no use that you buy an additional fuel to carry just 2 people inside your flight, and this is the real challenge.
And it's a huge loss for this
and that
farmers.
Also that if you have only very few people who are flying that route, the cost of airfare will increase, and definitely that even would make the produce itself to be uncompetitive.
The main worry is actually the perishable goods.
Yeah,
that's the main worry.
That's what it is. People are shipping those fruits out of Kenya to other part of the world, but now it's again going to have impact on the Kenyan economy, because at the end of the day, you are not earning so much as you ought to. So the economy again suffered.
Yes.
So wish Kenya well, and indeed most African countries. It's just nice that we have to put our acts together and see how we can grow an economy that is very strong.
A few more headlines. Interest paid on domestic loans rise. So taxpayers fork out an additional 89.4 billion shillings in interest payments on the government's domestic debt in the year ending June 2024, reflecting the elevated interest rates on doubtful securities and increased local borrowing for budgetary purposes in this period. That's still what it's on. Safaricom targets 500 million shillings on critical assets. Safaricom targets 500 million shillings on critical asset listing. So they project this said amount in savings annually if a proposal to classify fiber optic networks is as a critical infrastructure is passed into law, saying that there's a lot of disruptions, and they say these disruptions are caused by road constructions and building constructions.
Yeah, this is part of the weakness of most African states. Urban planning.
It's very low, very poor.
Poor, so poor, because we don't even envisage things that will happen. And that's why you see across
best case scenario, worst case scenario.
Yeah,
factor it in.
So you keep breaking road
at will
to lay cable, because we are not even thinking of tomorrow. It's quite unfortunate that we are not as visionary as we should be to be able to see what's going to happen. And I think most African states really need to be building new modern cities out of where they currently. You see,
no, that is a far cry. That is a
no, it is
that is a tall order.
It is not.
I think so.
And if I did that in Kaduna and successfully well, built a completely modern city with all basic infrastructure put on the ground, that's possible.
You know, I said that because it's in the individual to make it happen. It's in the individual that's in charge to make it happen.
You see, the function of government, as it were, is to be able to see tomorrow. So we already project that this place we are in is already oversaturated with people. And then we are saying, where are we going to put the next set of human beings? And we are seeing empty lands.
You migrate, you move to those areas.
If you see how UAE
that's always
developed.
The GCC is always a point of.
It's something that you need to look at it. They organize like a festival. They call it International City. Completely outskirts of UAE, far into close to Oman. Government built new roads to that place, constructs new rail to those areas, ensure the electricity is in there.
You make it inviting.
And they set it as a center. Now, the worst of it is that they may not even use their money to build it.
You come.
Let me tell you, there's a new area. We're going to have an event here. This is where everybody is moving toward. And by the time you know it, people are building their houses. Expo 2021, we were there. You have Nigerian pavilion built by Nigerian. And about 193 countries were in that place. Everybody had their own pavilion.
Amazing.
What do you do with the pavilion after the event? You carry it away.
You leave it there.
You leave it there. So it becomes a new city. So these things are possible.
They are actually.
If we are really progressive in terms
of... They are, but it still doesn't stop it from being a tall order.
Yes, it's a tall order here. In short, yesterday I was just talking to my wife, looking at all the shenanigans that is happening around our elections in Nigeria, and I said, look, we are really not serious people. From River to Akwa Ibom to Benue State this weekend, not to even talk about Edo last weekend, is a shame.
It is a shame. It's still SOUQ Business Landscape on SOUQ News Television. We will take a short break, and when we return, we'll jump right on to the next publication. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. A few more headlines as we wrap it up on the show today. Financial Times: China demands school teachers hand in passports in sign of Xi Jinping's grip on society. A deal for Telegraph News. So the owner of New York Sun is close to striking a deal to buy Daily Telegraph for a whopping $550 million. Gulf Times: employment in Qatar's non-energy private sector hits record, says QFC. Starlink: Qatar appoints a CEO to lead company into the next phase of growth. Quickly through Financial Express: Bangladesh. Nifty's MCAP share on NSE at 25-year low. 60,000 acre salt pit land available for industry and housing. On that note, it's bye on SOUQ Business Landscape. Thank you, Doc, for being here.
It was a pleasure.
Yes.
A great week it will be for us.
It will be that. Thank you so much. My name is Heirs Mbah. Stay tuned at 8 o'clock for early exchange with our lovely anchors. Until then, bye for now.